Welcome everyone to the another episode. Today we have the Fatima, and she's all the way from the US. So her name is Fatima Sheikh, and I'm excited to have a conversation with her. So I'm gonna give you a brief introduction about her. So Fatima is an expert in helping women manage their corporate and home life. So while making sure to address their self needs, having worked in the corporate world herself, so she is now stepping away from like raising children, fulfilling but challenging when she returned to the workforce. So now she works with the health and wellness startups and has launched her own life coaching business to help women out there find the true balance. So you can have like a more challenges in people's life that people have like a no balance in their work, there is like a life and children, so there is like a lot of chaotic moments that goes into it. So with that, Fatima comes in and she helps people with their especially with their women. So in this episode we're going to learn more about her work, how she helps people with her work and their coaching. So without further ado, let's welcome Fatima to the show. Fatima, welcome to the show, and how are you doing today?
I'm great, thank you. And hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great. It's definitely a conversation that needs to be had. I think that I'm seeing a lot when I'm going on these social media sites and LinkedIn and all these other places about this work-life balance. And I found that really interesting because I define life as work, family, and self-care. And so when people say work-life balance, it really threw me off. I said, life is not just work and life, it is all these other components. And especially as women, we've got so much on our plate already. You add on work, you add on kids, you add on, I mean, all these different things. And it's just like this tornado of scheduling and activities and things that we feel like we've lost control. And I think that there's this sense that somehow as human beings, and especially as women, we need to always have everything in control. And you know more than I do, you see social media and everything's picture perfect.
Yeah.
It kind of puts a lot of stress on us, you know? So that's where my conversation is beginning. And I'm really excited to be here. I think that this is, definitely an opportunity to open up a conversation in this area.
Yeah, totally. And the first thing, like, I need to acknowledge that you waking up in the early for like being in the show for my listeners. I think like
Okay.
it's like a half 6 or 7 o'clock for you. And yeah, we are two parts of the different world, right? You in the US and
Yeah.
I'm in the UK, and you're fasting as well. So it's
Yes.
just like going to be really interesting. And yeah. So tell us, like, before you become the life coach right now, you're helping women. Like, how was your life before? Like, are you finding the balance? Like, how are you educating your uh, coaching students? And so,
Yes.
how was your like a process looked, and how overwhelmed you are, or like when you
So,
recognize like I need to change?
yeah, and I appreciate you asking that because I think that's really important as a coach. We're bringing our own journeys. One of the reasons why I'm focused on this is because of my own transformation, my own journey, my own struggle.
Mm.
And, I like, I think our struggles begin even as children because we're trying to define ourselves. We're trying to figure out what we want to do. And we're blessed to have guidance around us, family, friends, and whatnot. But then as life goes on, I feel like, a lot of times we make decisions based on those around us. And then as you become an adult, a young adult in your 20s, as you mature in your 30s, I feel like, we start making these shifts and changes and we start realizing kind of like, oh, yeah, this is kind of who I am. This is kind of who I was. And it's a beautiful transformation. But a lot of times, especially as a woman and a woman from, Southeast Asia, I feel like there's just so much pressure on to be a certain way and to do certain things that a lot of times our identity gets left kind of last to get developed. It's being developed. It is being developed. It's just being influenced by so much around. And a lot of times I feel like what we really want, we don't really I- identify that clearly, or we're afraid to, or we don't know how to. So
Yeah.
my journey has been where I've been blessed. I did my undergrad in mechanical engineering. I got my MBA in marketing. I was on that path that was, designed to be the best path for me and that which my family said, you know what, this is going to be great for you. And, being a great student, you go, okay, I'm going to do all these things. But a lot of times you don't really know what you want in life. And
Mm.
so as I progressed and I was, met a wonderful man, got married, had kids and all, started juggling all these different things. And I chose to step away from career so I could raise my children. About 3, 4 years ago, I was ready, this was during the COVID time, and I was ready to step back in. And I realized that I needed to focus on me. I had spent all this time spending so much energy and raising kids, family, and then doing what I was supposed to, which I thought I was supposed to be doing. And
Yeah.
while I was very happy and I was content, I just felt like something was missing. And I also wanted to, pursue my health journey. Like when you want to help others, you kind of make sure you help yourself first. You have to make sure you have that conversation with yourself, like, what do I need? And when you can cut through those layers and figure out what you need and how you need it, then the world opens up where you can actually have that energy and be there to help guide others through their transformation and help guide others through what they need help with. So at
Yeah.
that time, I pursued a lifestyle change. I wanted to be healthier. I wanted to naturally lose weight after having children and stuff. I had put health and my wellness on the back burner. I actually joined this program called Target 100, which was, by the celebrity, um, coach, Liz, and amazing. And it was really something that transformed me. So she was a health and wellness coach. That's a startup that I work for. Um, I just made lifestyle changes. I learned to take care of myself through just natural ways of eating, sleeping, walking, exercising. I lost about 50 pounds. I will tell you, in that
Right.
weight loss that happened for me was this transformation of thought, of doing the things that I had wanted to do and figuring out what it is I want to do. And in that transformation that took place for me was also the opportunity for me to go, hey, what do I want in life? I realized I loved coaching. I loved working with people. My career prior to stepping away was in a corporate world where I went through different industries. I went from semi-gas to hydroelectric to um, advertising to healthcare.
Yeah.
And in all of these fields that I was, ultimately I left my position at Cancer Treatment Centers of America as executive director of training and development. So I had been in that corporate bubble. Um, so when I stepped away, it was almost like I went from that to, raising a beautiful family. I had been privileged to be able to
Mm.
do that. But now to step back in, I'm like, what do I want?
Yeah.
As a woman, as a mother, as a human being, as a wife, as a daughter, like, who am I? What do I want? And that's when, with this transformation of weight loss, with this transformation of me questioning myself, I was able to say, hey, I was able to reflect back and say, what is it that I enjoy doing the most? I enjoyed working with people. I enjoyed coaching, which I did a lot of sales coaching and marketing coaching. um, I just enjoyed training and development. So I went to this, Liz, and I said to her, this is what I love doing. She
Yeah.
created a position for me as training and development. And I thought to myself, wow, like we don't ask for what we want. A lot of times I feel that I realized I didn't ask for what I wanted because I didn't know what I wanted. And I think that's the fear. The fear is when you're reaching out to ask for something, you're not really sure you want it. And
Mm.
that made me realize, like, wow, there's so many questions that we have of ourselves. So I did my journey. I really did a lot of self-reflection.
Yeah.
I did a lot of questioning, and I took all the experience and realizing that I have coached so many people. And at Target 100, I started coaching. I trained the trainers. I actually trained the coaches because that's my specialty. I went back and got my life and health and life certification from HCI because I said, I want to be an official coach. I want to be a certified coach. And it just opened up a world for me. And what made me take that step forward to life balance coaching was realizing that we as women and even as human beings, and I don't want to isolate and just say women, but the reason why I say women is because there's this sense of um, with family, with motherhood, like it's almost like this self-proclaimed obligation we have that we must take care of everything. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's an added burden that we put on ourselves. And I did, and I still do. It's a joy, it's a privilege. But when
Mm.
you don't, when you can't define that boundary between what you really need to do and what you've proclaimed as your obligation, you put a lot of pressure on yourself.
Yeah,
So
totally.
yeah, and so I wanted to step away from that and say, you know what? I want I had to step away. I learned how to step away. I learned, and I'm still learning, right? This is the beauty
Yeah.
of coaching is you're constantly learning, you're constantly experiencing, and therefore you're constantly able to help your your members, your clients. So that encouraged me, that kind of helped me focus and say, hey, I want to help people find their life balance. And I'm talking about balance of individual, of what you need to live your best life right now between your work, your family, and your self care. And
Mm.
self care is huge. Self care is what I'm talking to you about right now. Waking up and going, what is it that I want? How am I going to define, figure out? Is it what I want based on what everyone's told me I should have? Is
Yeah.
it the influence that I've had since childhood? Or is it me saying, wow, this is what's really going to make me happy? This is who I really am. This is who I want to be. This is my purpose.
Yeah. So obviously there is like a lot of
Yeah.
self work you have to do on yourself to figure out like who you are and how you need to show up every single day for you and your family. So right now the work you are doing for like other women's so how is your process works to how to determine like how they can balance it? Is that like leaving their job or like finding a better one or like finding more time? Like how
Mhm.
do you help them out?
There's, a lot of my clients, so it's all over the page, right? It really depends. Some are working, and, some have just launched their business and are trying to find that balance between, like, oh my gosh, this is how life was, and this is what I'm doing now. How do I meld that? Some are finishing up, looking for careers. Some are like, no, I'm a stay-at-home mom. You know, I am incredibly busy here, but I want to figure out what I want to do. I want to get back in the workforce. I have other clients that are already corporate moms who are like, yeah, I'm really struggling and drowning here because all this information is being thrown at me on how to do things. You need someone to take your hand and go, hey, let's take a look at your schedule. Let's take a look at your day. Let's
Mm.
figure out what works for you. And this 9 to 5 is not necessarily the new, we know what the new reality is. We're working around the clock. So where does it start? When does it stop? And, what I do is I work individually with my clients. I basically want to understand their lifestyle, what they're doing. And before they make any drastic changes, it's really about taking small steps. But before you take any small steps, you have to define what it
Yeah.
is that you want, what it is that you're really yearning to do. And sometimes just taking that leap and making this big change is not really going to bring you that happiness, that contentment, or that which you were looking for. So I always come back to, I always start off with, okay, let's implement some small changes. And I'll be very honest with you. One of the first small changes I notice is social media.
Right.
uh, that is such a time sucker. Like I just say, hey, we're gonna first look at that. Define to me what you think in your mind is social media. What do you think serves a purpose, and what do you think is, um, like relaxing time?
Mm.
And so to define that, I help them, kind of curb it, where we're let's create pockets of 10, 15, 20 minutes at a time. And I want you to use that time to either like just spend some time looking for, like if you're looking for a new job, or spend some time, you're already in corporate and you want to implement this, some, for example, to be healthy, I want you to use those 20 minutes and I want you to go and just walk around. Or I want you to research walking pads. Like, by the way, I'm on a standing desk. I have a walking pad. I try to like say, hey, let's do some habit stacking. Let's figure out how you want to focus on your health. Let's get you walking in between those meetings or walking. What do you need to have your Zoom camera on? Can we have you do movement while you're, talking to someone on a meeting? Just simple things. So that's where I begin to start getting change. But then it goes deeper, right? The deeper conversation really comes down to as the sessions go on. What is it that you really want?
Yeah.
Are what do you want from your family? Like when you define family time, what does that mean to you? Like to me, I love dropping my kids off to school. I love picking them up. Those 10, 15 minutes in the car to me are golden. Even if it's silence, that to me is family time. I don't
Mm,
need to be jumping on a trampoline. I don't need to be running outside throwing a ball. I don't know. I need those 15 minutes of my child knowing, hey, I'm here for you. You want to talk? Great. You don't want to talk? Mama is happy in your silence. I relish your presence. So I have defined, it took me a while to define that because what I see on social media, I've seen for many years is, hey, my kid's taking all these activities and I'm doing this and I'm throwing these fabulous parties and I always thought, okay, that's family time, but it's
yeah.
not for me. So we have to learn to step away and define what does this mean? What does self-care mean? For me, self-care means that I am fasting in Ramadan. That is my spiritual self-care. Self-care for me means that an hour before bedtime, I can go upstairs and just drop. I don't care if there's dishes in the sink. It means that I'm going to start winding down. I'm going to start, doing what I need to do so I can get the proper sleep, right? So
Yeah.
there's little things, and that's where I work with my clients and say, what does it mean to you? What does it mean to you when you say self-care? Would you like to set aside time to go get a facial or what? That's great. But what do you do on a daily basis, on an hourly basis? Do we even recognize how we feel? And that's that connection, right? We've lost that connection with how we feel to how we should be feeling. We should be, right? We have so much guilt around us of what we should be grateful for and how we should be living. And that's why I want people to step away and say, hey, what is your journey? It's okay. All of our journeys are different. Are you happy in yours? And if you want to change it, why? Think truly to your deep self. What is it that's going to make you happy?
Mm, yeah. That's
Mhm.
great. So, with the experience of yours right now and helping others individuals and how you found yourself, what is the number one lesson you have learned over the years, like being to have that change on yourself and like recognizing like I needed to do this?
Yeah, I think it's first and foremost having grace for yourself, saying, hey, you know what? It's okay. I'm human. Um, it's not meant to be perfect. We have this, I had this, and I see this amongst many of my friends and people I've coached and family. It's somehow supposed to be perfect, right? We're supposed to be perfect. By this time, I should have figured out everything. And I think that when you can give yourself grace, that's the first and foremost step to saying, hey, this is okay. And there is room for change, and I need it, and I'm open to accepting it. Secondly, understand that it will constantly be changing. Our lives are shifting, and that's the beauty of it. It would be boring if every day, every minute was already pieced out and written out and everything.
Mm,
Things change. Every little thing changes, and how we adapt to it, right?
yeah.
And finding that balance really helps us because it puts us in a state of calm and going, it's okay. The day may get out of hand, but I've got the main pieces kind of figured out. I'm okay. I'm okay if I'm 10 minutes late in traffic. I'm okay. I didn't get to spend the 20 minutes with my kid today. I'm okay if, like this work project, okay, I need to request a little bit more of time. because the overall picture, you're at peace and you kind of have, you figured out the generality of what it is you want and what it is that you need to do. That those minute, those little things that throw you off don't really throw you off. It's just, hey, that's fine. I can deal with that.
Yeah, that's great. So, Fatima, we are nearly coming to end of this podcast. So, before we wrap up here, if anyone wants to learn more about yourself or your business, where's the best place to find you?
www.lifebalance with the Z coach.com. You can follow me on Instagram, Life Balance Coach. I'm on Facebook as well, Life Balance Coach. If you like my services, please go to my website. I've got a link down there. I'm also on LinkedIn. You'll see me as Fatima Sheikh. So yeah, absolutely. I am, really excited about this. I think that, and again, I really appreciate you opening up this conversation. I just think that there's so much to still be done in this field. And I will say this to you that don't feel that you have to do it alone. Like we all need help and guidance. And that's where a coach really comes in, where they can just help you with like getting things going and seeing what you're doing from a different perspective and really having, results. I think that's what's really important.
All right, that's great. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate everything you do and coming to and sharing your valuable lesson to our audience. So I wish you very best of luck and happy Ramadan.
Likewise, happy Ramadan to you. Take
Thank you.
care.
That's
Bye.
a wrap, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast episode with Fatima Sheikh. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. If anyone wants to learn more about her, you can visit her website. I'm going to put the link in our description for you to find her easily. So until then, I'll talk to you in the next episode. So take care.